We're doing it. We're finally getting to it, you guys. My review of Camp EDC 2021. 3 months later, I'm finally reviewing my experience camping at EDC this past October. For those that don't know me, my name is Ada. I'm a music festival content creator. And yes, I attended EDC Las Vegas back in October, the first EDC back. And I'm very overdue for this. A lot of life things happened, mental health things happened, and I just did not do my review of EDC or Camp EDC. So I'm finally getting around to it. I'm going to be dripping out my review of Camp EDC as well as my review of EDC. Just in case you happen to be attending in May, this is some of the things to look out for, know about, things like that, as well as sharing if camping is worth it and if I would do it all again. So if you're interested in learning more about Camp EDC and my experience, definitely keep watching this video. If you do like today's video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to vibe with me. If you are heading to EDC this May, definitely leave me a comment down below. And if you have any other questions I can answer, definitely comment those as well. But without further ado, let's get into it. So I have camped at music festivals beforehand. Previously, I've camped at Coachella and Electric Forest. EDC is a little bit different in the fact that you get a tent provided, you get electricity provided. So it is a very nice version of camping compared to the other events and festivals that I have camped at before. But I knew I really wanted to try out camping this time around. This was my third EDC. My first EDC, I did the shuttles back in 2017, and that was a shit show of an experience. I've heard they've improved since then, but honestly, I just didn't want to deal with the traffic and waiting and all of that stuff. And that's really why I like camping at a music festival, to be honest, is because you get that experience of not having to wait in traffic or anything like that. I'm not the type that's worried about, oh, I need to be able to shower, I need to be able to get ready and all those things. You can definitely do that at Camp EDC, being able to get ready and stuff. I had no issues getting ready compared to like getting ready at a festival with no electricity, not the best access to like bathrooms and restrooms and stuff like at other camping festivals. So EDC is definitely a more elevated camping experience, I feel like, compared to other festivals. So I'll get more into that, but I just wanted to give some background that I really wanted to try it out this year. In years past, I just couldn't afford Camp EDC, but this time around, I definitely could afford it. So me, my boyfriend, Emma Capotis, and BB all went in on a tent together. We had the typical Moon Glow shift pod package where it's 4 people to that tent. And we flew in on Wednesday, got into camp on Thursday, and then left on Monday. We got there Wednesday just to give us time to get situated. We had a Walmart order beforehand that had like the camp stuff that we needed, anything we forgot, and just stuff like that, like a cooler. We did like a whole Walmart order. So we were able to pick that up on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we went to camp. So I actually took timestamps of everything because from what I remembered in 2018 when camp first opened, it was like a very long line to get in. Same thing with 2019. So we were super worried a little bit as to how it was going to go when it came to arriving to camp. Because sometimes for these camping festivals, the arrival process can take a little bit of time. But I think that there was some things that made it go by a lot quicker. And so I'll talk about that. But we first loaded into our car at 11:45. We ended up all flying in, but our friend Ashley Gauthier drove. So she was able to kind of help us get all our stuff to camp because she was camping with people as well. It was a little bit tight of a squeeze. We probably could have gotten like 2 Ubers. We ended up being able to fit everything into Ash's Jeep, and she had like an extender and everything. It was definitely a tight squeeze, but if you are coming from out of state, you could either get a rental car, but the rental car is just going to sit in a parking lot all weekend long, or you can just like splurge and get the Uber just to make sure you got all your stuff there. Or you can have a friend take you like we did. We loaded in the car at about 11:45. And we got to camp at 12:15. So it took about 30 minutes for that whole process for us to get the car set up and then get to actual camp. On the way to camp was when we found out that there was going to be no AC units. Some people had already been arriving, and we found out that there was going to be no AC and that there was also a water main break. Honestly, I wasn't too fazed at it compared to a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people were really upset about it, but I was just kind of like, all right, we'll figure it out. I've camped at other festivals without an AC unit, and it is what it is. A lot of people were asking me, are you upset? Do you want a refund? And I was just like, these things just tend to happen. Obviously, someone made a really poor decision in cutting the AC units because they thought it was going to be cold the whole weekend. And with the weather, like I'll mention, like it was forecasted to be cold and it was only cold at night. And because EDC goes till 6 a.m., we're sleeping in our tents during the day. And that Vegas sun just hits. It's hot. You know what I mean? So someone just wasn't thinking. They're like, oh, it's going to be cold at night. Why did they need AC? When really we needed the AC for during the day when a lot of us were going to be sleeping because it ends at 6 a.m. You know what I mean? But I'll talk more about it. We made it work. I just didn't like how Insomniac really didn't handle it in terms of communication. The communication they did send out was basically like, if you're not happy, if you don't like it, you can get a refund and leave, basically. But you'll be out of luck on a place to stay for EDC. You know what I mean? So I just didn't really appreciate that. But there's not much else you can do. You had your chance to request a refund, so it was just kind of annoying that that wasn't communicated beforehand and that we still got charged for having, you know, an AC unit. We found that out on the way to camp, so we were kind of just like, all right, let's just get it sorted out. Let's get to camp. The check-in process took about 7 minutes and it took about 15 minutes for us to lug all our luggage. So we ended up just taking like our necessity luggage to the check-in desk. There's a ton of gravel during this whole process, which was like a little bit annoying. Something that I saw people do was people had like backpacking, like, you know, one of those big backpacks that they backpack Europe or, you know, an international country with. That's actually a smart move. And if I like had the means to do that, meaning like I could get by not bringing a whole lot, I would definitely do that. I had my huge suitcase and it was a little bit rough, but we made it through. So the check-in process really wasn't bad. There wasn't a line of traffic getting in. You know, we were able to walk straight up to the desk, and then we were able to get a tent right next to our friends, BB's friends. We were able to get a tent right next to them, which was really nice. This was also when they gave us our wristbands for camp, and they also checked our vaccination cards, negative test, and IDs, I'm pretty sure, as well. From check-in, we then went to security. So I think that's why this was a lot smoother of a process. I don't know if it was like this in 2018 or 2019, but for other camping festivals, you're literally in a line and then your whole car gets checked by security and then you're able to enter in the festival. Whereas this is where you park your car, you go to a check-in desk, and then you go to security, and then you're able to get into the campground. So I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it, or people were just delayed in getting in, or they went super early. Maybe we picked the right time to go at. I'm not too sure. And so security took about 5 minutes. You know, they weren't very thorough about everything, but they did check in some stuff. They did open things up. And then we were able to go locate our tent. So our tent was probably at the top left corner, right by the RVs. I really liked our location. We were super close to the bathrooms and super close to the entrance. And then we were also still pretty close to the mesa. So we were in a good spot, I felt like, which I thought was interesting because we got there later than some people, and I know some people were further back and they got there super early. So I think they do it pretty randomized compared to other camping music festivals where it's kind of like a first come first serve basis. It really just depends. So it's kind of dependent on where you get placed. So we ended up getting to our tent by 1 o'clock. So, you know, 11:45 to 1, that's kind of the whole process, getting to the tent. And then we ended up having to go back and forth, get the rest of the stuff from the car. So we were walking back and forth. Every time you go back to your car, you still have to go through security again to get your stuff checked. And then you get to go back to your tent. Also during this time, we had a tent lock situation. So I was waiting in the general store line, you know, to get a tent lock. We ended up being able to get one. The other one we were able to use. Emma had to do this whole thing, getting the code figured out and stuff. So definitely just read your instructions for your tent lock beforehand, or get a tent lock, you know, that has a key that you can stash somewhere. We were able to use both tent locks. So the tents don't come provided with a lock. You have to bring it yourself, or you can get it at the general store. We'll run into the risk of them selling out. Like I said, by 3 p.m. we were done kind of loading in. So overall it was like a 3-hour process. And then we were kind of ready to, you know, just hang out, enjoy the activities, have a drink, go to the pool and everything like that. The pre-party started at 8 p.m. and went till I think 2 a.m. We got to see like John Summit, Dom Dalla, Torn Foot, Elizabeth Cambridge, I'm pretty sure, Freak On. And so that was really fun. I really loved like all of the amenities that Camp EDC had to offer, between the pool setup, the after parties, pre-parties, all the different vendors and everything like that. It's just like whenever you do camping, you get that whole other side to the festival. That is really fun, and you get to hang out a lot more. You don't have to worry about traffic. That's what I really liked about camping at EDC, is just all the other amenities that were included. So that's kind of the whole process for us arriving to camp. The next thing I want to talk about is the camp setup. So I don't know what I was thinking. I did not get a good video of like our whole tent setup. So I'm going to include footage from BB and Emma that I have. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I should have done this. I really wanted to do like a little MTV Cribs moment, and I just did not think about it. But for 4 people, I felt like there was a lot of room for all of us. We were able to kind of like situate things. We kind of put all our stuff around the outer edge, and then we put our bedding kind of in the middle. And then during the day, we were able to kind of like roll up our bedding if we weren't using it. I felt like it was a pretty decent amount of space. For Chase and I's bedding, my boyfriend, we have these like air pads that you inflate with your mouth, and then we laid those down, and then a sleeping bag on top of it, and then we both had a blanket to share, and then we got cheap pillows from Walmart. The unfortunate thing is a lot of the stuff that we got from Walmart, you know, did kind of go to waste. I wish I could use more stuff that was like, you know, reusable and stuff like that. It's just hard to pack stuff like that. So we did get some cheap stuff from Walmart, and then ended up having to like trash bag it. I had to ask if they had like a donate pile. I feel like that would be really good to have. But they didn't have anything like that. So that was kind of our bedding setup. It was a really solid setup. BB had a memory foam pad. That was something I did at Electric Forest 2019, and that helps so much. The inflatable air pads, I'll link them down below. They did help a lot, but I think having a memory foam pad could also have helped. We did have electricity in the tent. There was just one of those like kind of longer plugs that had just like a bunch of mini plugs in them. I'm blanking on what the actual term is for it. So we were able to use that and kind of charge up our things. You're really only supposed to put like chargers really on that. And then we didn't have AC. So what we did to get by without the AC, even though I don't think they'll make this mistake again, we just opened up all the doors and windows once we realized that it was starting to get hot. So whoever kind of woke up first was kind of the first person to like kind of unzip everything, let some air ventilate. And it really wasn't that bad. Like, we weren't sweating too bad. It was definitely hotter in the tent, but when you have everything zipped up, that's when it gets hot. So we definitely unzipped things just to kind of let some airflow out, and it really wasn't that bad. Overall security of things, I felt like my stuff was pretty safe. We locked things up anytime we left and everything like that. Didn't notice anything stolen or anything like that. So, you know, when you go to a festival like EDC, you just kind of hope everyone's the most plur type of crowd, but you just never know. So we were very lucky that nothing really happened to our stuff, and we were able to kind of keep our stuff safe. As for the other things, the mesa, the activities, everything like that. So the food. The food was expensive. I was told that the food was cheaper than inside, and that was not the case. Also, the food was very average unless you went to like a food truck. Once I discovered the wings and things truck that had chicken and waffles, chicken wings, all of that, that's kind of where I went the whole weekend. Everywhere else was kind of average, except for the hot chicken sandwich place that was over by those food trucks as well. The food was pretty expensive. I mean, we got like snacks and stuff, but we didn't really have any cookware or anything like that because we were all flying. So I really was saving up for that, but I think I have a cost breakdown that I'll talk about in my EDC review. But I definitely spent a lot of money on the food, that's for sure. That was the rough part. So I tried to find things that were filling, that were, you know, the best bang for your buck. Like, it was $16 for chicken and waffles, but you got a big waffle and 2 fried chicken strips or something, and that was really good. So you really just have to find, you know, what you can get and kind of just deal with it, unless you're able to bring your own stuff to cook with. The showers and the bathrooms. So the showers and bathrooms were open 24/7 from what it seems like, and they were pretty solid bathrooms, at least near us. They weren't porta potties. They were like actual toilets on a trailer. Some of them were kind of dirty. Some of them were kind of broken at some points, but if you went to another trailer, like, it was perfectly fine. The showers, I think I only showered twice, I want to say. I got braids in, and that helped. I definitely recommend getting braids. If you do it through Squad Goals Beauty, you can get an appointment. And it's like $100 for just 2 simple braids. That's what I did. People were waiting in line for hours to get their hair braided. So literally get an appointment if you can. I really only showered twice, and the bathrooms are pretty nice. They're very similar to like the showers you see at Coachella, Electric Forest. They're basically just like a locker room on a trailer. And like, you have your own little separate stall, and then that stall is cut in half. So like, in that first half of the stall, you can like change out of your clothes, stuff like that. And then the other half of the stall is the shower part, and it's divided by like a curtain. So the bathroom and shower situation is what deters you. I think they do a really good job for camping at EDC. So it can be a lot better of an experience compared to like doing it in a porta potty and stuff like that. And they also have get ready areas. So over in the mesa, there's one of the tents is like a little get ready area where you can do your makeup, hair, all the things. Like a lot of girls were going over there and getting ready there. Emma and I got ready there, I think 1 or 2 days, and that was really easy for us to do. That was a nice little feature kind of add on that I didn't know about going to EDC. As for some of the other things I mentioned, like the activities, amenities, and stuff like that, was really cool and a really great add on to the EDC experience. I felt like the pool parties, after parties, vendors, goat yoga, roller skating, like there's literally so much going on at Camp EDC. It's truly a whole other world and experience. And it was just so fun getting to check out all the different things going on. And you definitely had a lot of time in between, like when you wake up and then when you go to the festival, to really like explore, hang out, and stuff like that. Alrighty. And then getting to and from the festival, this was the easiest experience ever, you guys, because I could wake up, get some food, get ready, pregame a little bit, and then take a 5-minute walk and walk straight into EDC. Day one took a little longer because they had to give us all like a wristband. They had to check our IDs and everything like that. And that was still like 10 minutes. And then the rest of the days, literally 5-minute process. Like they check you, they check your bag, they check like your wristband, and then you're in. Boom, done. Like literally the easiest process ever. That alone is what will keep me camping at EDC, because I just don't want to deal with the traffic. I don't want to deal with Ubers or ride shares. So like that alone sold me. And then security really wasn't that bad. They really weren't that thorough, I felt like, with some stuff. I think also because of COVID, like a lot of security guards just really can't be like touching all over your bag or like touching you as well. So I think that's definitely changed. But yeah, security was pretty much a breeze. And then wrapping up here, leaving camp. So we ended up waking up, I think like 12 or 1 o'clock on the last day. Something to know, they don't serve food after 9 o'clock on that last day on Monday, which I was pretty surprised by. They had like a 9 a.m. coffee and donuts, and I'm like, who's awake for that other than the people at the after party? Like, we weren't awake for that. So we all woke up at like 1 o'clock. We started packing up, and then you just have to be out by 3 p.m. So we ended up taking an Uber. I think it was like $150 split between the 4 of us to get to the airport. So definitely kind of plan for that if that's your plan, because we had to get a bigger Uber for all our stuff and whatnot. But honestly, not that bad when you split it between 4 people. Yeah, that was basically my Camp EDC experience. Some lessons learned. I definitely would pack lighter or pack less probably next time. Some other things, I think probably next time Chase and I would want to do like an RV or something. That way we could have like, you know, food and be able to cook and stuff like that. We've also thought about, you know, maybe doing a VIP tent just for us two. I heard there was some issues with VIP in terms of like their linens and just like their stuff as well. So hopefully EDC can correct that. You know, I have a lot of grace for festivals that came back this past year in 2021. You know, I feel like it was a big learning curve, and going to a festival in a pandemic, there's definitely going to be some challenges and things to overcome. So hopefully by May, a lot of the things that went down at Camp EDC and EDC in general get corrected. I'm sure they will. Wrapping up here, would I do Camp EDC again? Is Camp EDC worth it? Honestly, for me and what I value and what I want my festival experience to be like, I would 100% camp again. Like I mentioned, my boyfriend Chase and I, we've talked about doing an RV. We've talked about doing VIP camping. We're not going to EDC in May, but we definitely want to return in 2023. And I think after this experience, we just know how we can like have an even better experience. You know what I mean? So we would 1000% do it all over again. It was so worth the money, so worth the hassle. Like the only stressful part was like having to lug all of our stuff and then probably having to lug all of our stuff back. And that was like a 15 to 30 minute process. So like, out of the whole weekend, if that's the only thing I have to like gripe about, you know, that's really not that bad. And the AC thing, you know, we made it work. Things happen. While I didn't like Insomniac's response to it, it was just one of those things you kind of had to suck it up and deal with it. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can do, and I'm not going to let that kind of affect my experience. You know, I'm the type that's like control the controllables, you know what I mean? And that's something out of our control. So we had to control our experience as best as we could. So if you are going to EDC in May and you are camping, definitely let me know. Comment if you have any more questions. This is just my review. So like my actual tips and stuff, I will do in a separate video. But I just wanted to share my experience just so you can kind of get a feel for things. I also vlogged my whole EDC experience, so I will link those down below for you guys as well. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to vibe with me. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.